You're listening to Jesus Unfiltered with Eddie D and Nicole. On today's episode, Nicole asked me a question about how I started using vulgar language, and it leads us to a conversation about how sometimes God will rip us from our safe spaces to help us realize that He is the safe space. Now, Jesus Unfiltered with Eddie D and Nicole.
Okay. So, in listening to the guy we were listening to on the podcast, he mentioned his friend and how if you were to chop her foot off, you wouldn't get, you wouldn't get like curse words or swear words coming out because of it. You probably get something different because everybody responds to pain and hurt and anger differently. But if it were him and it happened to him, you would get all of, the cursing and the all that other stuff. And so my question was to you, what made you and why do you curse? And the reason I asked that is because one, it's something you never did, never really seemed interested in, only listening to because it was funny. And two, sometimes, and I know you may notice it too, sometimes it seems like you're forcing it out.
So, a friend of mine at work, I'm not going to call the name out, has the initials KJ. That way you know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
That way you know who we're talking about. She noticed that I would use words like frick, darn, shoot, crap, and those sort of things. But I would use them a lot. And so one day she was saying to me, I don't know why you edit yourself the way that you do, because you're basically thinking the words, you're just not saying them. Mm-hmm. And so I thought about that, and there was a bit of truth to that. And I realized that the only reason why I wasn't using those words is because I was afraid of what people might think if I use those words as minister, pastor, churchgoer, Christian. And so I've never had a problem with anyone who's ever used those words, nor judged anyone for being Christian or unchristian for using them.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's why I started using them. The crap, darn, shoot, those words hold just as much weight to me as the actual curse words. But it's always been a matter of, it's always been an image thing for me.
So why choose to say the curse word?
I guess for me, it's because I'm thinking them. And in my trying to express myself more, being more honest with myself about how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, I wanted to get out of the mindset of editing myself for the sake of somebody else, editing myself for the sake of other people, editing myself for the sake of the image that I was trying to uphold. And so for me, it's about just being honest. If I'm thinking it, might as well say it.
So then that brings me to that. I'm glad you said that, because you saying that is making me think about this. Do we not sometimes edit ourselves for others because we are Christ followers? Like, I think to myself, and please tell me, correct me, like, Jesus didn't edit himself, but he edited himself. Did he not? Because he could have told people, more than what he told them, What did he say? I didn't tell them because if I would have told them, then they wouldn't have crucified me. I think about, when that can't say incident, when that crap, what did happen with him, like he could have stopped it. But if I think about it, he edited himself so that it could happen. So how do we know, or should we edit ourselves sometimes, either, and I'm talking this out, okay, either because we're Christians or for the betterment of the kingdom. Does that make sense? Am I making sense with my question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just don't know if I'm gonna make sense with my answer. So
well, that's why we're talking it out.
Feel free to unfiltered.
Okay, big time, because we have not talked about this at all. So everything you about to say and I'm saying, we don't know nothing.
Right. So for me, I think there's several things at play with that. One is intent. Mm-hmm. What am I trying to do in what I'm saying? Like what is the intent behind what I'm saying? Like, I knew for myself, I wasn't trying to be cool. I wasn't trying to be one with the in crowd. That was I knew that going in, because I know a lot of my folk who I worked with, they use these words up and down, left, right, sideways. You know it. They do it. Mm-hmm. Like they were using these words backward long before I was, and for a long time I wasn't using them around them. That's why I was using the crap, the shoot, the derns, and all that stuff. So I wasn't trying to be cool. And I've had to really check myself on that, because again, I know how I can get sometimes, my two self, always wanting to, make others like me or care or whatever. And so the first thing for me is intent. What is what you're saying and how it's coming out going to provide any type of value, I guess. And I guess that actually something that I should be more mindful of moving forward, because I don't just want to be slinging them out just for the sake of.
Kind of like a nuance thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely shades of gray. Absolutely shades of gray, which goes kind of to my second point, because I don't think that everybody should have those words. What I mean by that is, you and I can have a conversation and I can use those words, but to a complete stranger, it may be a little.
That's what I was just about to say.
Right, a little more awkward. Like it depends on the person's circumstance, situation.
The conversation that you and I would have and how we would word it is not how we would word it with our kids or our parents.
Right. Or church members who don't get it.
Or even our
coworkers, bosses. Like it's like I was telling somebody who wanted to tell their boss off. She was like, yeah, I wanted to tell my boss off, but I'm trying to make this money, so I can't tell my boss what I really wanted to say, which was blankety blank, 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 blank. Instead, I told them, I completely understand where you're coming from, and so I thank you for the criticism.
That's true.
And I'm going, right. And so it's like, it really depends on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Situation, time, level of importance. Like I tell people all the time, there's a difference between being transparent and being vulnerable. Transparency means that I'm the same person in every place that I'm at. Mm-hmm. I'm not changing up just because I'm at work or I'm at home. You're gonna get the essence of me.
Okay, I was gonna ask. Yeah. Can that be possible though?
It's the essence of me.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna be a scared little kid at the job, but then I'm a ferocious lion at home. No, if I'm a ferocious lion at home, I want to be a ferocious lion at work. But the method by which I present that right, for ferocity. Yeah. Right. Like, but how I present it will be different depending upon proximity, closeness, how close I am to you. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how sometimes cliques can kind of form at work, where I'm real cool with these people, but over there I'm really presentable. Yeah. And and so so again, there's a difference for me between being transparent, where you see what you see is what you get. And then vulnerability, which means how much access you have to me,
to
all it.
So
No,
like how much access you have to that transparency?
to that transparency. Yes,
Okay.
you see all of me.
Yeah.
But how much access do you have to? Am I going to give you to me? So I can have these. I can talk to you any kind of way, quote unquote, with you.
Oh my gosh.
But I can't talk to this person over here just any kind of way. Like I gotta.
Is that not how Jesus treats us?
Yes.
Like
yes.
He doesn't talk to, or
he didn't talk to the three
the
same way he treated the 12, the same way he treated the 70, the same way he treated the ones who came who wanted him, the ones who didn't want him.
Like, didn't he tell his disciples more than he told others?
Bingo. Bingo.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so it's not that. So trust. We're not saying that Jesus was out here cussing with his disciples.
Yeah. And we don't know.
We don't. But that's what I'm saying. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. He might have been like, you know what?
Hey, when he comes over here, that's gonna be a question.
Listen.
Have you ever cursed? Like when they pierced you.
Watch you be like,
when they pierced you, did you say something? You say something.
Exactly. We don't know. We don't know. And so, and so that's why for me, that's how I view it. Like I'm not gonna go to my mom's house and be given a bunch of. I won't even say the D word. I'm scared to say the H word. To them. In front of them because I don't want them to be looking at me, sideways and want to cuss me out because of him, or even just saying a cuss word. Even yesterday when we were playing the game, playing Connect 4 with your cousin, I was like, your brother, yes, your brother. But even then I was like, okay, I don't know because we cool, but I don't know how cool we are. And I gotta test that. I gotta test that. That's why I said
it is really cool. I will say.
Right. That's why I said the D word under my breath because I was upset. But I didn't know if he can handle me saying that word. And so there's that there's that piece to it too. There was a third thing.
Before you move on, that's even how I when I was growing up, like I feel like we're opposites. Like we're total opposites in that regards. Like when I was growing up, I just spat them out, boy. Just slinging them all at school. When I got home, they were in there slinging them all, cussing you out left and right. Actually was calling my free and my B.
Right.
I was doing all of that. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I don't know. I guess, and maybe it was because I guess got it. I won't even say get it out of my system because it's not like, I don't know. I can't explain it. But it's like now I don't do that as much. Like there's certain words that I just don't feel comfortable saying anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. But sometimes I will think it because of the situation. But sometimes I will say it because of the situation. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I guess as I got older, it's just certain words I didn't feel comfortable saying anymore. Mm-hmm. And even like I never really felt comfortable saying like cursing in front of my mom. Like now I'll be like if I'm talking to my mom and I'm trying to explain to her something that happened. And I'll be like, excuse my French, but I said da 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 da, and I'll say it because I'm trying to, reenact what happened. Mm-hmm. And like she doesn't have a problem. But I know my mom has cursed before, like because of the situations that she was in, and like she doesn't like say them. I don't know. It's just that I can't explain it. It's just that feel of I don't feel comfortable saying it. Not that I feel bad saying it. I just don't feel comfortable. I mean, that's a hard, is that an emotion or is that like a being comfortable? Like, can it be an emotion? Like,
that's discomfort sounds like an emotion to me.
So it's like, there's just some things you don't feel comfortable with. And I don't know, you can try to figure out why, but you just know you just don't feel comfortable with it. And so like, if I don't feel comfortable with something, I don't do it.
Yeah.
You know? So,
And that's okay. I think I think that's what my third point was when you said that sometimes it'll seem like I have a discomfort with saying certain things, or I have to force the word out of me. Like there's still kind of like I'm not used to saying it still, even though I've said it a lot. And so, there's still kind of that awkwardness that I feel because like I haven't been using these words like this, for 35 years. I haven't. When I said when I was really trying to sling it hard and got caught and said it right in front of my mama, she threw me in the room and threw a Bible in there and was like, read the Bible, and so
you probably said it in the wrong situation.
No. I was very happy when I said it. It was the S word. I was watching the game show, and again, the person surprisingly got the answer right. And I was like, oh! And my mom was like, what? And so threw me in a room and threw a Bible at me. I was 5, it was a
like find where we shouldn't say shit in the Bible.
Right.
Well, I see ass. I see hell. Ooh, damned. I don't know, Mom.
I'm confused.
So can I say those words?
Say them now? No, you still can't say those words. So here I am, 5 years old, confused as all get out, because, like I said, I see these words, but you told me I can't say them. And now I don't know what to do, but I don't like being in this room by myself. I don't like having this Bible thrown at me.
So I'm just not gonna say them. I ain't gonna say nothing.
I ain't saying nothing. And that's how it was for me. So I was always plumb terrified, that
they say you can go to hell, you better say they can go to the lake of fire.
Lake of fire, fire and
all the words,
all those other words, one word. So it's always, so that was always what was going on with me. I just always scared of lightning bolts firing down on my soul because I said a cuss word, even though again, I'm thinking every last one of them. And so that's where fricks and the derns and the craps and the shoots and the gosh darns and
that's
all
why
that
I like
came from.
saying those more. I don't know, because to me they're fun. Okay, yeah, I might be thinking the real word, but I don't know. Sometimes it's just funnier, or it's I don't know. It's different. It's something that I had never like. You had never did the real thing. I had never did the fake thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was just cooler, funnier to say those words.
Jiminy Christmas.
Like I'm always saying,
Papa's fritas.
Okay.
Papa's fritas.
God dang it, man! Shoot a monkey, shoot down
my pants.
Yes.
Turn it to heck. Yes.
So yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's where that came from for me. Like I always think them, never said them, and in trying to be honest with myself, I said if I'm thinking it, I should say it. That's where it came down for me.
That was my next point. Somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we're thinking something, should we always act on what we're thinking? I know it says, think it and you might as well do it. But that's
not true.
Because I could think to myself, oh, I'm about to go cuss this chick out because she done pissed me off.
Listen, American Home Shield gonna get this work. They're gonna get this work tomorrow. Some words might come out.
I'm with you on that.
Just saying.
But it doesn't mean that I should act on it.
It shouldn't.
I'm doing it because of an emotion that I'm feeling at the time.
There's ill intent behind it.
Just like you talked about, it's the intent.
It's the intent. And I intend to give these people this business tomorrow because I don't feel shielded by them. I am the shield.
You have fixed the
I am the
shield.
Machine. I'm the shield. I should be getting paid. Shoot.
Like, that's just crazy to me. You fixed the washing machine.
Come on.
Someone had to come and tell us the problem
Yeah,
and then
we had to pay them to do that.
Exactly.
And then I went and fixed them myself.
Please get rid of Home Shield.
Okay, if you with American Home Shield, I wish I was gonna ask them to be a sponsor, but I don't care no more. They gonna get this business now.
No.
So, but that goes back to again ill intent. Like, what's gonna happen? What point or purpose?
So I guess the reason I like to say the funny stuff is because it's funny to me.
Yeah.
That might not be the intent that I think of, behind it all. But like when you really sit down and think about why you do some of the things you do, it really helps us to take a long, hard look at us as individuals, and so I think that that's a really good thing to do, because we always talk about, as a follower of Christ, always checking yourself, always checking within yourself. Yeah, check with your spouse, and all that, but always check within yourself too, because not always your spouse is going to be like, hey, how are you doing? Sometimes we have to do that for ourselves, and not saying that the other person is wrong for not doing that. Life is busy. I get it. And, you thinking everything is good and everything might be good, but it's always still good to check in during the good, not just the bad. I remember when we were going through our tough time, and every so often, more than we do now, we would check in so much. We don't do that as much now, and that's not a bad thing. You may need to check in more when you're going through than you do when you're not, but still check in. You know what I'm saying? And so checking in with, them, as well as checking in with yourself and God. Like, don't forget that. Yeah. Because I feel like when we start to forget that, then that's when we start to lose who we truly are in God. And so that kind of that
complacency.
That's really important. And then I wonder sometimes, is that why we feel like, I don't know, I'm just feeling this way, and I don't know why I'm feeling this way. Like, I don't know.
I remember the show called Bold and the Beautiful. I don't know if you ever seen that stuff. It's one of those soap operas.
One of those
soap operas. Gotcha. And what you said is very profound, in that one of the characters, how they'll have these people be in a relationship, then they'll break up, and then they'll get back together, and then they'll break up, get back together, and they'll break up, and they'll goes in cycles.
I hate that. That's horrible.
Right. And so this dude, his life is perfect at this point. Good job, good spouse, good money, all that stuff. But on this particular episode, kid you not, it was the randomest thing to happen on this show at this point. He started thinking about that girl again. And it started the spiral for them to get back in the relationship and mess their marriage up and create the drama all over again.
But didn't know why he started thinking about her again.
It was random. It was random. That's the thing. It literally.
The thing is, he didn't talk about it, did he?
He didn't talk about it. He didn't talk about it with his wife. He dang sure didn't talk about it with his friends.
A therapist.
He went and talked to her.
No, you can't do that.
But the point. That's not the point. The point is, just like you said, in times of peace, when things are good, we still gotta check in every now and then, because just like you said, I'm feeling some type of way, and I don't know why I'm feeling like this. He started thinking about girl. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you thinking about her right now? Mind you, they got a lot of history, so clearly got a lot of memories to go through Rolodex for. But even then, what are you thinking about her for, to the point where you want to go call her? Like, what kind of hold does she have on you still? With all the mess y'all done been through, and all the stuff y'all went through season 20 and season 23.
Oh man, see, and that's, oh my gosh, when you say stuff like that, when you said the things that y'all have been through, I think that's that familiarity.
Come on now.
That complacency.
Come on now.
Think about, people who have been in jail for so long, and then when they get out, it's like,
I don't know what to do. I need to go back to jail. I need to go back
home.
Oh,
that's what they feel like, and not knowing, especially if you're not a Christian, that the place is not your home.
But it feels like it because it's all you've known, or it's the safest place you felt.
Exactly, and so being just like, and I know I'm probably jumping right now.
Okay.
Just like when challenging a Christian with what they grew up on, and challenging them as they are older,
come on,
it's like they get defensive because then it's like you're
challenging
attacking my safe
my
space,
safe
my
space.
home.
That's
You're attacking
That's right.
my family, and
That's
it's
right.
really,
That's
to
right.
me, depending on who it is and what it's about and their intent, it's not really an attack. For me, I can see how, and I know that, you know, in the past, you probably had this problem with me with like just asking random questions. To me, a lot of it is curiosity. You know what I'm saying? And so you have some people out there who are just like that. But then you do have your other people out there who are asking to, you know, challenge you and to be,
they're trying to bait you and trying to goad you, and then be like, see, that's what I believe now. But no, but you're right though, you know, because when we have become comfortable in our safe space, when we're comfortable in our safe space,
even if that's not a good safe space,
even if it's not good. Even when it's not good.
I'm thinking about abusive marriages
now.
Come
on. When it's not good,
this
but
is
it's
everywhere.
Safe. When it's safe, any threat to that becomes a challenge that we have to fight.
The water already hot.
Listen,
now it's warmer.
And that's what happened to a lot of people in the faith too. Dang. That's what happens with us. That's what happened with us when we got saved. Yeah. When we got saved, God came for our safe space. Yes. He said, I can't let that be your safe space because I'm your safe space. Yes. I am your peace. I am your joy. And so I'm coming for the gods. Yes. I'm coming for them. I'm coming for your idols. I'm coming for them. I've got to tear them down. I got to, you know, your spouses, I got to make them do something that makes you realize I can't make that person my top. Yes. I can't make that person my top. Yes. That job, I gotta do something there so that you see you can't depend on this. Yes. You can't, this cannot be.
Then bringing this round full circle again from the very beginning, what we talked about, God knows us though. So he knows how to, you know, interact with him or interact with her. Like the way he may interact with you may not be the way he may interact with me because we're different.
We're different
and
people.
Not saying that he's not showing him his true self, but he has to show it in a way
that will get your attention. That will get your attention. That's how he does. That's who God is. And that's why we always say God is not, you can't put him in a box.
Yeah,
you can't put him in a box. Gosh, he didn't go to Abraham the same way he went to Isaac, the same way he went to Jacob, the same way he went to David, the same way he got to Paul, same way he got to his disciples. Jesus didn't catch all 12 of his originals. He didn't catch all his originals the same way. Yeah. You know, he went to Matthew a different way than he went to Simon and Andrew. You know, he meets you where you're at. He meets you where you're at, and he knows how to get his people. And so that's why, you know, it's a matter of us being open to change.
Yes, and not saying that we back down on what we believe, but I feel that it's healthy to question that. Yes. A lot of people, especially growing up, say, don't you question God, don't you question this, don't you question that. But if we don't ask the question, how are we going to know? We're just going to go off of what you tell us.
Right.
But then you're always telling us to know it for yourself. So how can we know it for ourselves if we don't ask the question?
Right. Right.
So, yeah, I think it's healthy to question. You know, question why, question who, question can. You know what I'm saying?
No, what it is a lot of times is that, you know, people just want you. People love the people that we've grown up with. They live in a very black and white world. It's either this or that. There is no gray area. There is no gray between that. And so whatever they have been taught is what they're going to pass down. I said this a lot in pastoring, and I still believe it to this day. Before 2014 forward, but even before then, I always said it's interesting that we keep recycling the same verses from the Bible every freaking time we get up to preach, teach, talk, whatever. So we are so biblically illiterate, we don't realize how human these authors were who wrote these books.
Yeah.
We only look at the verses that match what we want to preach on or what we want to teach on. Yeah. And we recycle those things so much, people don't realize that a lot of the Bible, if they really sat down and read these things, wow, like, dude, these people were human. Yes. Like, human.
God spoke to them just like he speaks
to us. Mm-hmm. These are human beings that, by the power of the Holy Spirit, were inspired to write, or were inspired to, beat down armies. Were inspired to cross seas, and were inspired to, create kingdoms and watch them fall, and everything else in between. But but the point that I was trying to make was, because we've been recycling these same verses and these same hymns and these same songs, when we start to question those things, the reason why they don't want us to question is because they don't have the answers.
People don't realize that. That's okay.
That's okay to not have the answers.
It's okay.
Let's go look for the answer. Yeah. But instead, you're questioning God.
No.
But what it is you're questioning. We're questioning. But what they're really saying is not that we're questioning God, is we're questioning their safe space.
Oh, wow.
That's safety to them.
Yeah.
And if you start questioning that, now they're having anxiety.
Yes.
Because now has everything that I've learned, everything I've been told, been called into question. Because just like when we were talking to, Macedonia about tithing, you got people who have lived and died by tithing.
Yeah.
So when you go in and try to show them 2 Corinthians, where it tells them God just wants you to give, and he wants you to give in a way to where the ones who don't have enough have, and the ones who have a lot don't, they're not excessive, and that's how the church grows. Yeah. You try to tell them that, you're questioning their safe space, because that's where they've gotten their blessings from. That's where they've gotten their health from. That's why they think. So they think, because that's all they've known. That's all they've been taught for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. No one ever took them down 2 Corinthians chapters 8 and 9. They took them to Malachi 3, and where that one little verse says, will a man rob God? How? Through tithes and offerings. And that's all they told him. We'll test God in this. Watch, he won't pour you out a blessing you won't have room enough to receive. That's all they know about tithes. That in the verse where Abraham gave to Melchizedek a tenth of what he won in a battle.
But they don't talk about the woman and make that part of it.
No, they don't. No, and they miss the whole thing about the tithing system and what it meant for the Israelite nation. They miss all of that, but that's because no one took them through it. For 50, 60 years, that's all they knew. Now comes this new stuff, and it ain't new. It's always been there. Yeah. Just no one ever walked them through it. So now their safe space is being threatened because they feel like if I don't tithe, God won't bless me.
And so then that makes me wonder, because we've talked about this before, what happens when the tithing that you've been doing and the way that you said God is going to bless you, what happens when you get sick and don't get well? What happens with all that? And that kind of makes me sad, because then I think about, like, if I feel like it's a, I don't know if this is the right word, but I feel like it's a cop-out. So if you say that, God is now not blessing your health, all right, so I got to keep tithing so God can bless me to have the strength to deal with it. But that still doesn't make any sense, because you already have that in you, right? If you have God in you like you say you do, like, it makes me sad, because now you're going into I have to do so I can get.
Exactly.
So, exactly. Yeah. But exactly. I don't know. Just hit it. But yeah, that part makes me sad, because then you'll have those who are unsaved start to then question, well, you said God blesses you, but your health is failing tremendously now. So what? forgetting that we're not on this earth to live forever.
Come on.
And so it's not a blessing that you're,
oh my God.
is it not a blessing that you're going to pass away? Like, you know, so
exactly.
yeah, go ahead.
No, go.
And so when you have that unsaved person see that, it makes them kind of rethink about everything, because you got them thinking that God is going to bless them the way that they want to be blessed. And that's not
and when it doesn't happen, they're now at war with God.
Because of you.
Because of you.
And what you're saying and doing.
Yes.
And so that.
And that's where, again, the issue with, you know, with faith comes into play for a lot of people who don't believe. Because they're looking at us as the examples. They're looking at us as, you know, the way forward. And so, but they don't see us as the way forward to making peace with God. They look at God as a means to get what they want. And so they go to church, they go to Bible study, they do all the things. And in doing all the things, they think that that's the way. And what did God say in Romans 1? Not only am I going to give you over to a reprobated mind, I'm going to put people up in places to make you think that this is okay. And y'all going to celebrate each other in your stupidity.
Yep.
Y'all going to celebrate each other. You're going to lift each other up in your stupidity. So now again, when someone comes with the truth that says you don't have, no, not even you can't. You don't have to do this, and God will still bless you because He loves you, not because you did anything for Him. There it is.
That's not true. I don't believe that. That makes me think about that time when we went to this specific church, and it just rubbed me the wrong way when they told me, well, if you don't, you know, use your voice, then God's gonna take it away. You know, and yes, He has the power to do that, but just because I don't use it for
your benefit, right,
doesn't mean that He's gonna take it away. Like, and that I never thought about it then, like I think about it now. And even then, it just kind of sat weird in my spirit. Like I'm nowhere where I used to be, and so like I feel like I really have grown. But back then, it just, and it's like it's like, you know, just how we talked about. I feel like something's off today. I felt like that statement was off, but just didn't know how to
say it, how to articulate it, how to think through it, how to pray on it, how to talk to God about it, what to do with it. And that's what a lot of issues were for, you know, for a long time for us, that we didn't know how to really talk about what we were feeling on the inside and how to really talk about it, because we were always told, don't look like what you're going through. You know, pray about it. You know, it's in God's hands. It was never, let's tease that out. Let's talk through it. Let's figure it out. Let's understand it. Why? Right. And not being honest about those things. And so, you know, so again, when something comes up in opposition to the safe space that we've created for ourselves, the safe skin that we live in, we can sometimes mistake the truth about God for a lie. And we end up, you know, missing the true blessing, which is God pulling us out of our safe space and bringing us closer to Him, who is the safe space. He's the safe space. Because no, this is where I'm comfortable. This is what I've built. This is the kingdom that I've built for myself.
God, Eddie, and I mean, if you really think about it, safety is not always comfortable sometimes.
It's never.
Safety is pushing through that uncomfortable feeling.
What are we talking? We tell people about fear. We tell them all the time, courage is not the absence of fear. It's having fear and taking fear with you. We're gonna walk up this mountain. We are scared as all get out. Thunderbolts, lightning, fire, brimstone, raining down from this mountain, but we climbing it. You know?
That's true.
Right.
But I mean, that's where I was coming from and thinking, and I'm mad at how, I'm not mad, but it's funny how that the first statement led to another.
That's how it works, man. That's what we do.
But
this is the truth. It's the truth. And again, for a lot of people who don't know Jesus, they don't know God, they're looking to us, or they're looking to Christians. I don't know if they're looking at us. They looking to Christians, and they're looking and they're seeing this is what it is. This is what it's all about.
Yes.
And and that's why it's so sad to see the things that we see in the world, because like we always say, people are looking for peace. They're looking for comfort. They're looking for joy. They're looking for satisfaction. They're looking for, they're looking for God, but they're seeking him in all these wrong places. And when they come to the church, or they come to a Christian, and we don't look any different from a spiritual sense than what the street does, they don't have a reason. They're like, you know what, I might as well stay where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because this ain't no better. Yeah. This ain't no better. And when they come with their questions, don't question God. It's like,
exactly.
Or
even as soon as you get in, all right, let's get to work.
Right.
Like, no, I just came from working out in the streets. I want to sit down for a minute.
Right.
Okay. I want to work right now.
Man.
Can I sit down? Okay, if this is what God wants, no, boo. This is what I want.
Right. Right. In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
Man. And that is, it's funny, because that actually leads me to what I wanted to talk about today. I don't know if we'll be able to get through it all, but I'm going to try anyway. Because as I was watching the TikTok video, I won't talk about the other part of it. Maybe I will, I don't know. Watching the TikTok video, and the TikTok video was talking about people who are like doing this thing called quiet quitting at work. And they don't want to work 40 hours a week anymore, and they don't want to work in a capitalistic society, and they don't want to get a degree for somebody else. That was the basis of a lot of what they were saying. And this lady was basically saying she feels the same way, and that's why she created this organization to help people become free and do what they really love and do what they want to do and things like that. I won't go into my response and all that, because that's not the point.
Before you go on, you're basically making yourself a god for other people. That's what I hear when I hear that.
Bruh!
Keep going.
That's the point. That was my point. That was the tertiary point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a word. But
I'm gonna look that up.
Right. But the thing that made me so sad is that, they're looking for peace. Right? They're looking for peace. They don't feel like they should be working a 40-hour work week. They're looking for peace. And there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. None of us are meant to be working for nothing. And if that's what you feel like you're doing, like you're running a rat race, I understand that. There feels like there's no purpose in that. But when you start going down the rabbit hole of, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be working at all, like, that's when it starts to gets problematic for me. And here we are as Christians saying God designed us for work.
And I think that, and before you keep going, I want you to keep going where you're going.
Go. I told you we're not going to talk about it today. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like, we're made to work, but I almost feel like sin made it where work for us
is tedious. Yes, it hurts. Like, it's burdensome.
Yeah.
He told that to Adam in Genesis 3. He said it in Genesis 3. He said, you gonna work, but it's gonna suck.
Because before work was great.
It was fantastic. You loved it. Tending to this and doing this and building.
It may not have seemed like work.
It was joyful. It was joyful. Yeah. There are moments on our jobs where we feel like we have conquered the world, right? Yes. Like, God, I had such a great day at work today, and let me tell you why. But then there are those days where it's like, man, work sucked, and let me tell you why. Like, those things happen. Both those things happen. So work can't just be about feeling good.
Yeah.
Because if work is just about feeling good, then you're never gonna want to work.
You're gonna never want to work.
Because you the first few days, that honeymoon phase is gonna end really quick. And you ain't gonna work no more. None of us do. None of us do. Even with my job, it's the best job I've ever had. But there are days where I'm like, you know what? I want to take an hour off.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to this person today. Like it happens. Mm-hmm. It happens to everybody. And so I feel like for the people who are like sitting in their feelings, they are, like we were talking about before, not here, but in a conversation about an hour or so ago, or at some point, you know, we cannot operate on our feelings.
Yeah.
We cannot act on our feelings. We cannot act on our feelings. We cannot act on our feelings. And so, you know, we have to be so careful. We are allowed to feel how we feel.
There are emotions. Yeah.
Yes, we are allowed to cry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We are allowed to have feelings.
There are emotions.
Yes, today I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like it. I want to sit in my bed. I want to do nothing. But if we sit in that feeling for too long, we will start to build a kingdom out of that. Mm-hmm. We build a God out of that.
Yes.
The God of sloth, laziness, you know, non-working. Like, we start to build a God out of that. And more so than in any other generation, it is so easy now to build gods around stuff because other people feel the same way.
Yeah, so all you have to do is find your people.
Find your people.
And feel what you feel.
So now we've created this kingdom of feeling like not working. Mm-hmm. And now we can create a whole thing called quiet quitting that's become a trend.
So what, you quit your job?
No, what they do is they do the least amount of work on the job. There's no purpose. I'm just here to collect a check. I'm gonna do the bare minimum to collect a check. Dude, that ain't quiet quitting. People have been doing that for generations.
You're still working your 40 hours, dude. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Right.
You're still working.
You're
still there.
You're working until you will go to the, and that's why I said it makes no sense to me, because many people have done that. Like, that's not a trend.
It's not new.
It's not new. It's a thing that people do until they get in a position where they're no longer having to work at that job. That happens all the time.
But then what happened when your boss come in and say to you, hey, I'm seeing this, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
You gonna pick up the pace. That's not no quiet quitting.
Or you gonna lose your job.
Or you gonna lose your job. Then what?
Then what?
Okay, boo, you free now.
You free now. Now, and that was the argument that I was making with the people. Like, dude, what's your plan?
Is this the freedom that you wanted?
Is this what you wanted?
Because if it is, you got it.
You got it now. You're not working in the capitalist society anymore.
Now what?
You're not working. Your degree ain't being used by somebody else. Now what? You got what you wanted. The freedom that you wanted, you now have.
Now what?
What are you gonna do with it? Okay. Like, you're not going to another country. You're not gonna find.
How you gonna do that? You ain't got no job.
You got no money. You know, that's why I told him, like, y'all sitting here complaining about this. This is the world that God has ordained in his permissive will for us to be in right now.
Oh my God.
And what's worse, this same thing that we're mad about here in America has been happening for thousands of years. Every civilization that has ever existed has done some type of barter and trade system where for gold or for shekels or for rubies or whatever they said was the commodity by which we're going to trade goods, this is what we're going to use. So you got to figure out how you going to, get your rubies, go get your gold shekels in order to make money. Like, in order to get the goods you want, to get the food, to get the chickens.
I guess I'm still just, confused as to how you think that we're not supposed to work.
Right. In what universe does that make sense? You got to do something. And it's not even about the working 40 hours a week that gets me. God made us for purpose. Yeah. We got to be doing something. Sitting down doing nothing it only works for a little while. Yeah. Because I remember when I left the prison and was coming over to the job I'm working at now, like, them first few days were fantastic. Yeah. But after the first few days, I'm like, oh, I gotta get busy.
Know how some feel.
No, I know, Nikki, I knew how the summer felt, trusting to leave. I knew how it felt. That's why I was glad I had to work. I was like, I could do it. I couldn't. That's why I commended you. I bowed down. Like, I'm
doing stuff.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I get it. I get it because we were meant to be productive. We were meant to be productive. It's not to say that everybody's got to be working at some person's job. That's not everybody's purpose. I get that and I understand that. But it's not everybody's. It's not meant for everybody to work to be entrepreneurs. Yes. Like people keep always saying to me, when you gonna go into private practice, I don't want to do private practice. I don't want that headache. Yeah. I don't want the paperwork stuff. I love my job. My job, I see the people, write my note and go. I ain't got to worry about billing. I ain't got to worry about insurance. I ain't got to worry about none of that stuff. I never wanted to do that part. I just want to do the therapy. That's it. And so, you know, so for some people, entrepreneurship is great. But for other people, they want that 40-hour, 30-hour, 20-hour work week and come home. They don't want to have to deal with all the other responsibilities that come with that. Some people, I'm that person.
Preference.
Right. And so again.
See, and that's where we're different. It's like you can work from home. I can't.
No, listen, no, please don't misunderstand. You know, and we in the nest. Please don't misunderstand. This is hard for me. Not from this perspective like I'm going like nuts, but this is hard for me because I've never been in a situation where it's just been me. I've always worked with somebody else. Mm-hmm. I've always been that social person, you know, so this is difficult for me to do. But the benefits, I'm learning very, very well. And I've got plenty of things to keep me occupied. And I've got good friends who I talk to from time to time. And it's all above board, and so I'm good. Like but them first couple of months were difficult for me because I'm used to being in the office. I'm used to being around people. I'm used to having conversations. I'm used to meetings. Like them first 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, I am really out here by myself. They were not playing. Like they were not playing. I'm really out here on my own. I go to meetings if I want to, not because I have to. I connect because I want to, not because I have to. I am not used to that. And so it was the learning curve. It wasn't steep, but it was new. And so to that end, like I know that I'm not necessarily built for it, but I learned because I like the money and I like the work and I like what it affords me. So I learned, and that's what I feel like that's what's being lost in this generation today. I feel like they want all of the benefits, but none of the work. They want all the pleasures.
That's not even microwave. That's just instant gratification.
Right. Like,
is there some instance that's like going to the restaurant and just having it? You know?
Right. As soon as you sit down.
Let me let somebody else break their back so I can reap from it.
Right. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. That's not how work works. That's not how purpose works. You got to be doing something productive. Even if it's not to benefit the society of man. You got to be doing something to keep yourself productive. There are so many people who, in their elder years after they retired, died 6 months later because they were no longer productive. They weren't doing anything. Like I feel bad for my grandfather. Like, you know, after he stopped preaching, he sat down for 6 months.
We need to make sure after we retire, we got
something to do. That's what I'm saying. Plan something. We got to be doing something. Like, we got to get out this house. We got to be writing something, producing something, singing something. Like, we got to be doing something. Like, we can't just sit on our laurels. Something. That's what I'm saying. We were made to be productive. Period. We're made to be productive. Now,
bring it on.
Like again, it's not to say that we should. That if you feel like you're at a dead end job, I understand.
Yeah.
What is your plan?
Yeah.
I'm talking to a person right now, and that's her issue. Like, she's like, I'm just so tired of job. Boo, get your certification. Once you're certified, get out.
Yeah.
Like, don't stay there any longer than you need to, because if you do, you're gonna continue down this path of misery. So get what you need to get out of it. I told like 3 or 4 people that same thing. Right. Like, you're miserable right now. Don't stay there. Yeah. Just don't stay. Get what you need to get out of it. Get your resume beefed up and get out of there. Get out of there.
I'm sorry, it's making me feel.
You feel me? Do you feel me?
What's today's date?
You got how many?
16?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Single digits. So it's like, so again, that's why, God designed us for work. And I wish that people, but again, it's just the way the world works, but I wish that people would stop looking for someone to validate their feelings and then stay there.
Yeah.
I'm going to validate you, but I'm going to also hold you accountable.
Exactly.
I understand where you're coming from. Don't nobody want to work. Don't nobody want to work. We all want to sit and drink Mai Tais on the beach. Woo. But even a vacation
that's not good right now.
does. But even a vacation gets boring.
Who you telling?
And what do? We long for home.
Yes.
When we go vacation, as soon day 3 hits, it's time to go home. Yeah. It's time to go home. We love the time that we spent there, but I'm longing for home.
Ready to go home. Bring it back full circle. Somebody in prison, somebody in a bad relationship. Yeah, I'm out of this. Makes me think about this. Makes me think about a lady who she was in a bad relationship, but then and she got out. Someone helped her get out, but then the guy came and he got hurt or something, and she wanted to take care of him because she felt bad for him, and so now he knows where she lives. She got out, but then it's just this. Yeah, exactly, right. And again, it's like, dude, you did all this work. You got all these people involved. Yes. You all this, the clarion calls, red flags, everything. Like, come save me. Yes. And we get right back in the situation, right back into it. And it's because it felt comfortable. Yes. It felt safe. It's all you know. Yes, all of that.
And all of that. And not even just familiarity with them, it's familiarity with your, oh my gosh, familiarity with your role.
Woo! Oh, wow. Yes.
Okay. With your role. I'm used to being a caretaker. This person's putting me back in that position because right now I'm free.
I'm free from that. I'm not doing that.
But I don't know what to do with myself. It feels off. It feels weird. I'm not used to taking care of myself.
So instead of questioning that and then trying to get answers for why you're feeling the way you feel,
and thanking God for the peace,
you just go back into.
You go back to what you know. You go what feels comfortable. Wow. And God's like, I just pulled you out of that. I just pulled you out of the darkness and brought you back into the light. But just like it says in scripture, what will a dog do? A dog will throw up, walk away, and then go right back to its vomit. Yes. And lick it off the ground. Yes, but that's what we do as people. Yes, we finally threw it up. We finally threw out the mess that was in our stomach. Yeah. Got the stuff out. And we're walking, and then we're like, ooh. And we go right back to it. Yeah. Because it's comfortable. It's safe to us. And God's like, no, I don't need you to be safe. I need you to be well. Yes. I need you to be whole. Yes. I need you to be complete in me. Exactly. Come here. I just pulled you out of that. But thanks be to God that God's not a God where he's like, didn't I just pull you out of this? Oh my God. He's like, nope. I go get him again. All right. And he's let's go. Send him back. Run it again. Let's run it again. We died for that. They're not us. Jesus. They got the whole spirit in them, but they're not us. Let's go get them again. Yes. Because sanctification is a process. And that process takes time. Yeah. And thank God that we serve a God who allows us to be vulnerable, open, going back full circle, open, honest, and vulnerable and transparent with him. And he works in us to exercise that which he has placed in us so that we can be more like him every day. Yeah. And so going back to what you said at the very top, like even as I'm having this conversation, I'm checking myself to revisit the conversation I had with myself 2 years ago. Why am I using these words? Because I've gotten comfortable. So what is now my intent behind using them? And is my intent still the same? Because if it's not, I need to check myself. And thanks be to God that we can have the honesty, the openness, and the transparency to be able to sit down with God and with our accountability partner and say, hey, what are you using those words for? What are you doing this for? Yeah. Because if you're using these things for the wrong reasons, then you need to check that. So
Yeah.
This was good, man.
Yeah, this was good. I wasn't
good.
Like, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. You know, people who are listening, like, was like, we're doing it today. It was like, man, I'm so tired. It's been a long weekend, long, tiring, and physical weekend.
Yeah.
And so we are mentally, physically, not emotionally, drained.
Yeah, it was emotionally fulfilling.
Well, it's
been emotionally fulfilling,
yeah.
but it's been draining as all get out for the body. Like, it's been a taxing weekend for sure.
I don't know, just something in me is like in here, and I'm on my phone. You know, sometimes when I like to look at, you know, certain people, I look at their channels on Facebook, and so I was just sitting here and I was about to start looking, and I was like, I just want to have a conversation, even though I'm tired. Like, I'm sitting here rubbing my eyes and yawning, but this conversation is
very
I don't know,
fulfilling.
Yeah,
very fulfilling.
Yep, called my husband out the room, like, hey, have a conversation, you know. And so I'm sorry I dragged you out the room.
No, it's fine. I didn't know I needed this until you asked the first question, and now I know I got something to go to God with now. You know,
and I wasn't trying to do that.
But it's great though, because that's what we need. You said it in the middle. We don't ask the check-in question like we used to. Not that that's a problem, but we don't even know sometimes what we need to check in for. And so for you to even ask the question, it's like, oh, dude, I haven't revisited that since 2 years ago. That's a 2-year situation, 2.5-year situation when that all started up. And so it's like, you know, I hadn't revisited since. Like, I just been, okay, this is the path I'm on. So now here I am. And so, oh shoot, I hadn't thought about it in 2.5 years. So it gives me something to go back and think about now. And go to God on and ask him, you know, is this, what am I doing it for? What am I doing it for? And do I need to, you know, revisit, you know, again, everything that we talked about, proximity, closeness, intimacy, all that kind of stuff, and to determine whether or not it's something that I need to continue doing? Because the honest and goodness truth is, I don't. I
mean, to me, it's neither.
It's not
a good thing, like you said. Yeah.
It's not either good or bad. Right? It's no intent behind it. And so again, to say that I don't need to then says, do I want to?
Yeah, there you go.
Right. I don't need to. I don't need to cuss to express my feelings, to express my wrath, to express my joy. I don't need to do that. You know. And so, you know, again, now, will I? Probably, but I don't need to. I don't need to. See how you're looking at me. We don't need to, but I might. Because
feels good when we do in certain situations.
Just saying. Therefore, tomorrow, American Home Shield might get this business, and some cuss words might come out. Just saying. Might get this business.
And some cussing words
just say it. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Right? So it goes back to intent. I don't need to like put it like I'm trying to shut it off. I'll say it like this. I don't identify.
Yes.
My use of cuss words, I don't identify myself as a cusser.
Yeah.
Like if I stop cussing, it's not going to kill me. Yeah. You got some people who feel like their whole world has come to an end because they can't use cuss words no more. What does that make me? You know, oh my God, you know, been cussing for so long. Look, it's so hard, so difficult. Like, it shut on, shut off. Yeah, right. It's a shut on, shut off. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's not gonna make my identity either more or less because I'm not using cuss words. Like, it doesn't matter whether I do or don't. The question is, you know, what's my intent? You know, and you know, right. And so, yeah, this was good, man. This was good.
Thank you for coming in here.
Thank you for asking. I'm really glad we came here and sat down and had this conversation. Thank y'all for listening to the Jesus Unfiltered podcast. We appreciate y'all so much for your listening. And I look forward to doing this again next time.
Yeah. Next time. I mean, I feel like even though we tried to, I tried to not do it today. I don't know. It's just become not this tradition or religious thing. It's just something that I felt like, hey, I feel like I want to do this right now. So
let's do it.
And it's just been on Sundays. Not trying to make it, but it's just
yeah.
See what God,
Exactly. And like we say, we ever feel froggy, we got the technology clearly, so we can really do it whenever we feel the gumption to do so. So thank y'all for listening, and we'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace out.